I'm telling you something, write it down. Something good is about to happen. All right? Not one word from God shall be without power or impossible to fulfillment. Luke 1:37. Not one word written in the pages of this book lacks the power to do the very thing this word is talking about. Okay, God set it up that way, and we do not get to switch it around. And God is watching over his word to perform it, Jeremiah 1:12. Watching over his words coming from our mouths to perform them, to bring them to pass. Right, Isaiah 57:19. God creates the fruit of the lips. Okay, but we believe in junk, right? And therefore we have let godless people rule the people and guide our nation. Why? Because like anything else, we believed wrong, but not anymore. Ungodly leaders, step aside. God guides the nations of the earth. Oh, and he only doeth wondrous things. God reigns over the heathen. And you're going to do what God tells you to do. King, Mr. Prime Minister, your heart is in the hand of the Lord. Like rivers of water, he turns it wherever he wishes. Are you hearing me? And Satan will do anything to keep you from taking time in the Word to read these verses over and over until you believe them more than the gong show that you see is going on in this nation, right? You're going to believe what God said or you're not, right? Believe what he said and agree with him and start saying that, or keep saying the other junk and get more of the same. Right? Because if you will read what God said on this out loud, hearing it and hearing it and hearing it, it'll cause faith to come. Now you've got the word and faith, the very words that have the power in them to change all of it. And the devil knows it. Right? So he keeps you busy with other words. Reports on how our nation's spinning out of control because there are leaders in place who can dictate that. Right? You just got to hang in there. Pray our hope so prayers and then spend our time hoping so. But Dorothy, it's just all downhill fast from here. Our country's going to hell in a handbasket, you know. Not funny. Those words activate spiritual law. It's not funny. I'm just joking, Dorothy. Those words, whether you say them with a smile on your face and a laugh or not, activate spiritual law. We know that by now. Okay, remember the tongue, right? Can change the whole course of nature, James says. Turn a whole ship headed in one direction to the complete opposite direction. The tongue can do all that. So let's do it with this. Let's turn our nation with our tongue. Right? Same as you do for anything else. Now this time for our nation, right? Mix our faith, I believe that, with God's words on it. Mix this with that and we will get a reaction. Mix those two things and mixing those two things can move godless leaders out and God-fearing ones right in, right? Now, hear me. You got to do all this, what I've been talking to you about. But then you got to actually go out and vote for the right ones. Correct? Vote for the ones that most match Scripture, right? A person who's committed to making way for the killing of the unborn is not a godly leader in God's opinion. Not from what we read in here, right? So that one gets ruled out. This is not difficult. Okay? But get before God and don't go by your own brilliance, right? Your own reasoning and call it God. Okay, find out what God says in here and let that be your measuring stick when you vote. Because you will be accountable for what you give your agreement to when you place your vote. And when you vote for a particular individual, you are not just voting for the person, you are voting for their platform. You are giving your agreement to all that's on their platform. So be sure you know what's on that platform, to know what you are giving to your agreement to know what you will be accountable before God for. Okay? And I know that this is not popular. Okay? Satan made sure of that. Because if he can get you to be silent on politics, not use your words, he can lead this nation. And we let him. Are you understanding this? Okay? Well, then I won't vote. You will be accountable for that too. Remember we learned this. doing nothing is still consent. Right? That back in week 7, we learned that. Doing nothing is still consent, and you'll be accountable for it. Right? And then go on to daily stand for the right things boldly. Speak up when speaking up is needed. God will show you what your part should be if you'll ask him. Right? Don't bow to the lies, to the demands of evil. Rebel against the devil. Refuse to cooperate with him. Right? Write the letters to our leaders. Right? Refuse to let the truth be silenced. Okay, we have a part in that as well. Okay? But what have we been saying about it? About its leadership, about the decisions being made by our leaders. Okay, now it doesn't mean we have to agree, right? There's a whole lot of stuff we better not be agreeing with because it is godless and a direct disagreement with Scripture, against God. But again, reiterating and discussing how nasty those decisions being made are is doing nothing to change them either. Okay, but God says that if we do it by, like everything else, finding out what God says on the topic, believing and saying that, thereby cooperating with his system he put in place to enlist his help on the scene, we can get this thing changed.